I'm just going to cover in this video the recent changes in the Windows and Linux version of Iris. There's been some significant UI changes, and unfortunately this video is going to be a little long, albeit I'm not going to go into great detail in relation to all of the functions, but I am going to provide a quick overview. There will be other videos up on my YouTube site describing how to use each of these functions in more detail. So in the first instance, we'll just run across the application from left to right and up and down, etc., to give you a bit of an overview. So as before, there is still the standard chat. However, within the chat now is the ability now to add dynamic chat rooms. So a user can define his own or her own chat room and send that chat room to whomever they want. So they can send an invite to that chat room and that person or persons can accept that chat and be part of that chat room. Again, noting that the whole object, if you like, of Iris is it's peer-to-peer. None of that server bar humbug. And we have the ability to connect multiple networks. So that could be multiple different MNAs, etc. And they all self-discover and they can communicate with each other. So that's one of the strengths. And we'll go through that in relation to the setup on the way through too. So I'll just remove that chat room at this point in time. Also, as previously, there is the ability to do certain aspects to the users or interact with the users from the chat. So we can see things like the current node detail. So we can see that this particular one is a friendly infantry, etc. And they were updated X time ago. We'll talk about some of these other aspects in further videos like track correlation and tasking and all that sort of stuff. Or we can go straight there and view them on the map too, as you can see. So that's from the chat part in relation to those components there. We still have the ability to send a file, invite, etc., from chat. I'll just send a quick chat from another one so you can see the indicator. You can see the indicator comes up. You can see that there's a chat there and we can respond to that chat. There's still the global or no relay chat, so we can keep the chats just within our network, or they can be sent globally so that everyone can receive them. That's a user decision, so that you can minimize traffic across the network. Again, the concept there being we could have a headquarters MNA, a company MNA, multiple platoon MNAs, whatever that might be, and we can connect them all via Iris without any additional hardware, etc., and communicate. So that's quite handy. The next one is the messaging. Previously I was calling it email, but that's a little bit misleading. It's not email in the true sense. It's a messaging capability that looks like email. Again, we can send directly to a user, to everybody on our net, or to everybody across all of the network. Attach files if we want, send typical email, be able to do all our customization in terms of our fonts, etc. if we want, save as a draft or send it, whatever that might be, and we can go back and look at previously sent emails as well in here. The next one is the CASVAC button that allows us to go and look at previous CASVACs. We'll go into that in a little bit more detail in this video, but not in great detail. But needless to say, we can go and have a look there. Record allows us to record the main screen, so there might be an activity that we want to look at and come back to later. Declutter allows us to declutter based upon, for argument's sake, we might have 3 platoons and 2 companies and a headquarters. And we're sitting at a headquarters and we don't want to see all of the nodes on the network for, I don't know, say all the companies. So you'll see them appear down here and all the platoons. We can highlight them and then we can declutter based upon that, as you can see. And we will see the number of nodes in relation to that. So it's just a quick way of reducing the clutter on the screen and by region or by echelon, if you like, so we don't have to be overwhelmed by the map. We'll come back to locate me because we need to have a feed coming in either via PLI from a radio or some source or a GPS feed. So we'll set that up as part of this, and we'll come back to that and show you that. But you saw it from the chat there to find somebody else. The same concept applies. Within the video, the videos can sit into the side screen here. You can have multiple videos running if you like at a particular point in time. That one didn't load. We'll stop that one. Go back and play a different one. Here we go. That was a poor video choice there. So we can bring in different networks as well if we want, including following SDP in terms of the DefStan 00802, I think it is, 806, pardon me, in relation to pulling in video via SAP and SDP in relation to the different video feeds, so we don't need to know their IP addresses, etc. We can pop the videos out and see them live, big if we want, move them around, or we can keep them in the side there. You'll see this follow KLV. We support KLV on or off, and whether we want KLV positioning on the map or the ability to follow me in relation to that KLV, as you can see down there. So that's there as well. We'll go into more detail on that. We'll go into more detail of the geofence in this video, but not in great detail soon. The next one is the pointer. As you can see, the pointer that was there before, I'll just fire up the pointer from another node so you can see it. So you see the red cross there, that's me moving a pointer. You might want to use that to assist a user or direct a user to a point. So I'll just fire it here, for example. I can send it to whomever I want, or I want to send it to all, because I might be talking about or producing some sort of orders when I want them here where my mouse is, so they can see that. Overlays come into place when we're creating military symbols. I'm going to create a military symbol, and you'll see that we now have a circular menu. So here, for example, excuse me, so we can create the military symbol. So we have the full suite of military symbols, so 2525 Delta suite. So I can create whatever that might be in relation to that symbol, whether that's a headquarters, etc. Blah de blah de blah. So once I've created my symbol and chosen what it is I want it to be, I hit create, and it will appear up here in the overlay. So that means I haven't sent it to any of the other nodes on the network. I'm still playing with what it is that I want to do. So I might want to even move that yet. So I might want to reposition it over there, for example. I might want to add some sort of control measure of some sort down here. So we'll go up and I'll show you the control measures, because that can be quite daunting for a user in relation to the, I'll do a command and control line. I'll just do a light line. You'll see this draw line. You'll see this box pop up. So I can click here to start it, click where I want to finish, and go up and click finish. You'll see that followed me, and once finished, it disappeared. Again, create the symbol. Now there's two, not sent to the network yet, so I can continue to do something with it, move it, whatever that might be, edit it. Needless to say, that's what that function is. We'll just slip across to settings quickly. Before we go into settings, we'll just slip over to this side here though. We've got the ability to bring in KLV and KML and KMZ files onto the map. Shape files, I won't bother to show you on this one. Import rasters, DTEDs, geo packages, rasters, tiles, scene layers. Scene layers look pretty cool. I'll show you one of those because that is cool. I'm going to bring up a scene layer just so you can see it. Now if I go to, where is it? I think I've got one in here somewhere. Here we go. And then it'll also allow me to highlight this. So all of the layers can be managed through this. Manage the import layer icon here. You'll see that's the one I loaded. So if I now click on him and say zoom, it'll take me to that layer. If I just go more tilt, you can see the 3D view here of what that layer does, because we can start to see 3D buildings, etc. with that layer, which I think is pretty cool. We can remove that layer, as you can see, and if we wish, we can say forget it. So when we come back on and log off, log on, close the app, whatever, it still remains. Or if we don't want it to remain, so we can forget it, it's gone. So let's just go back to where we were. So I'm going to use the find this location. Oh, sorry, show on the map. There we are. So we're back to where we were. Quick way to get back there. Turn the declutter off because we left that on. So we're also over here, we have the ability to create routes, so we can create waypoints and routes, whatever that, and name them, and we can send them or add as many as we want. We can delete them. We won't bother to send them or delete them at this point in time to do anything with them, just for the purpose of moving on. We can create offline maps, so we can take a capture of the map and download it and save it, so that if we want to keep this particular area and use it as part of an offline map, we can do it there. So we'll move across to the settings now. So the first thing in relation to the settings you presented with is the default is the network. So here we must set a unique username. What cluster or network we belong to. So in this particular case, we're running in the company. So there could be company headquarters, multiple companies, multiple, whatever that might be. And we'll go into this in more detail, but needless to say, in other videos, this is where we can avoid having all that server bar humbug, routers and all that other stuff to connect networks, etc. And we're not limited by the amount of nodes that we want on a particular network, so that's pretty cool. Here we have our net map settings, so we can, by default, it's to an offline map because predominantly it's going to be used offline. However, if we want to use online, we can say use online, and we can choose the map type that we want. So in this particular case, we might say we want a, I don't know, this dark map, for example, so we can change maps as we see fit via this setting here, and choose the multitude of maps available to us. Here we can change the size of the symbols on the map to meet your level of need, so you can make it less cluttered. Here is where we can set up what the tracks, look like, our croms, etc. I won't go into detail, but need to say you can set up what the tracks appear like, and for track history, etc. And here's where we set up our track correlation or divergence setting for our track correlation aspect. And I won't go into detail in here, but need to say it's quite a complex and quite powerful track correlation capability as well within the application. So here we have the appearance is the next thing, so we can change some appearances, whatever that might appeal to you. We have the ability to add or disable a virtual keyboard, hide or show the compass, etc. in there. We can change the unit systems. Before we do the unit system, I'm going to drop down to the external GPS, because then we can show the unit systems, etc. as a result. So I'm just going to move to external GPS. I'm going to enable, so GPS, we can have multiple choices. So we can bring in serial, TCP, UDP, multicast, etc. Today I'm just going to enable a serial GPS, as you can see, and how often we want it updated, etc. Distance, movement, etc., etc. So it's come on, as you can see down here on the left hand side. We've got some details in relation to where it's put us, how it's being fed, our speed and direction, etc. So I'll just go back up here. Whoops, pardon me. So we'll go now into the unit system, because you can see if I'll use this down here, we are currently using metric. So if I go to imperial, you'll see it's changed to miles per hour, etc. there. If I go to where are we? The heading system, and we change it from degrees to mils. You can see we've changed to mils down there. So that's the heading system, etc. We have the sound and logging, so we can have sound and whether we want a detail logging or not for the application. We won't go into detail, but we'll come back to that in other videos. Let's go back now to the SA and PLI input, so we can set up as many receivers as we want onto the application. So we just click add receiver, and it brings in different, and you can start to see I've got a feed happening already. That's feeding in a COT feed, etc. And I can see the amount of packets, etc. coming in. If I like now, if I go back to the map in here, I can choose to do things with that. I know we'll come back to that rather than confuse the situation at this point in time. So where am I? Ah, so we've got the ability to add plugins, so we can install plugins. For example, we might install, a plugin to be able to manage and deal with all of NATO messaging standards, for example. So you'll see that it's in. We've got this. So now we can open it, and here we have the different messages, etc. So we can send them, we can save it as an XML, we can send it to in ADP, so we can ingest it into other systems or other C2 systems, if you like, whatever they might be. I don't know, Sidware headquarters or something like that, whatever that takes your fancy. Let's just say it's fully compliant to the standard and the message format, so you can do whatever you want there. So you have complete messaging capability just via a plugin. You can add other plugins too if you like. So we could, I don't know, add, for example, a simple plugin that everyone gets excited about in the TAC world, say ADS-B. So we could go across here, we go, okay, show me the ADS-B. So we can bring in, there we go, there's our ADS-B feed. We can share those with other nodes on the network. We can make it come up automatically. We can make it follow us on the map. Anyway, that's the concept of the plugins. So the plugins are there, and for whatever you want to do and create yourself, that's up to you as an end user, but needs, again, not constrained by that architecture like TAC. So you can create as detailed plugins as you like. As you saw with like the messaging one, we can create messages, send them across the network, do whatever. No problems at all. And it's too easy. And if we don't want that, we can just disable it, and we can remove it from our list, and you'll see it's gone from over there. We've got the ability to clean the mission, so all the data from all of our databases, etc., can be cleaned off from there. So let's have a quick look at the wheels. So I'll just use the wheel at the moment in relation to the entities that you can see on the map. So if I double click on the entity, I can go in and I can look at details in relation to him. What is he? When was he updated? What's his tasking? Tasking we'll go into later, so we can task nodes. We can look at their track correlation, all that sort of stuff. So we can do things like link in them with, say, Anduril Lattice, and have tasking come in and out, for example, to the entity. Or we might just do an override. We could change what this entity is. We'll say he's actually a hostile, as you can see, and everybody will get him as a hostile on the network that's getting the feed. We can turn that attribute off. What else we got in there? This is where we can task. So we can either send a task out, and you can see there's the Lattice Mac, for example, out of Anduril Lattice as an example. So we can task the nodes. We can do an engagement. So we might I'll just double click on him and do an engagement as an example. I can say that he's engaged. His type is, I don't know, gun. We'll just do his a missile. We're going to do, I don't know, we'll just make something up here at the moment. Yep. To him, start engagement, and you see the engagement lines and the engagement occurring. So we'll just remove that engagement. Clear that later. Edit it. We've done that. We've done that. We've done that. We've done that. Yep. So that's cool. So, yep. Okay, we'll move on to the next thing. We'll just do this circle so we can do things like add pictures onto the map. We might want to add, I don't know, a quick picture just for the sake of showing you. I'll just do a quick one. That'll do. We can send it. We can send it to everybody. We can edit it. We can move it. We can send it again. If it's updated, we can delete it, and we can delete and notify everybody, send it, delete it, etc. We can do other things in relation to free draw. So we can do the standard free draws. We can draw our rectangles, etc., edit them, do whatever we want, save them, send them, etc., etc., and then we can move them, do whatever it is we need to do, and we'll just delete that guy for the sake of the demo. We can do range analysis, so we can do things like measure. So we can say measure between these 2 points here. So we can see that's 7.2 kilometers. So we might be able to go, that's 14 kilometers, and that's 13 kilometers. We can do line of sight. So we'll just do a line of sight down up here. So we might go to there. We can see that it's obstructed, as you can see. Here's the obstructions, etc. We might do a range rings, so we can set our range rings. They're 5 kilometers, and it's going to be from here. We can see. We can do a range fan. So we'll do the range fans. Where are we? So range fan. Where are you? Range fan. There we go. That'll do. We go doing it here. There he is. Go in a bit so you can see him. There we go. I'm going to get rid of him. We can do our tactical terrain analysis. We might want to look at a particular high point, make some assessments, etc. So we might want to look at this area here to see whether that's what we've got. We can start the analysis. It comes up with the high points, the highest point being in red. We can look at that and see what that looks like. That's where it is. We can then do the view the coverage from it. Okay, that's what it looks like. There's red bits. We can go back and look at each individual aspect if we want, and look at the focus, etc. Anyway, we'll just delete that. We've got the ability to do, say, a radio path profile, so we can set up a point-to-point radio link. We've put in our attributes in relation to the radio link itself that are appropriate, like heights of antennas, gains, etc., etc. We can place those points down on the map, and then we can determine whether we've got a path and what's the path profile or the terrain look like underneath. We could do that if we want for a multi-point as well. So we could go, say, a multi-path. We want to have a full mesh, and we want to have maximum 30 nodes. We want to look at blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so we go, okay, we want 1, 2, 3, 4, that'll do. So we run our analysis. There's our first path, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, blah, blah. So we can do that as well, so we can help us make some decisions in relation to what it is we're doing on the map. What else have I done? Most of that so far in there, I think so. We've got the standard X mark, so we can see, okay, that point is blah blah at feet, blah blah, etc. I think that's a rough idea. There, like I said, there'll be more and more information placed down on the YouTube sites as we go. Did I cover everything in relation to the nodes? I think so. Yep. Anyway, there we go. Thank you. Talk to you later. Bye.